Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're finally celebrating an Indianapolis Colts victory. After a couple of rough weeks against the Texans and the Packers, it feels great to talk about a win. Last week was a tough one, especially losing to Malik Willis and the Packers. I get that it was an away game and the Packers are a solid team, but there's just no excuse for how poorly we played offensively. The defense gave up nearly 270 rushing yards, which is terrible, but the offense needed to step up, and they finally did, at least a bit, against the Bears. We put up 20 points, which is a step in the right direction. However, Anthony Richardson's 2 interceptions were costly, especially the one at the goal line. He went 10 for 20, which isn't great, but we've got to be patient. He's the youngest starting quarterback in the league, and this was still a solid win against a Bears team with a pretty impressive roster. Their offensive line might not be the best, but a win is a win, and this one might have just saved our season. If we had lost this game, making the playoffs in the tough AFC would have been almost impossible. I'll gladly take this win. AR also had 24 rushing yards, showing how much our offense can open up with him on the field. You could see it in the way he faked a handoff to Jonathan Taylor and then took off for a big gain. Defenders are all over JT, who had 110 rushing yards, and that opens up opportunities for AR to make plays. I like where this team is heading. The first 2 weeks were all about learning and understanding the process. It's not always going to be smooth, but the highs will definitely be worth the lows. Richardson had some great moments, like that 44-yard pass to Pierce. It's amazing to see him just flick his wrist and launch the ball 50 yards. Granton also had a nice 40-yard catch. But let's be honest, the passing game has struggled these first few weeks. Richardson's accuracy has been an issue, and he has a lot of work to do. That's why we need to lean on Jonathan Taylor. I think the coaching staff did a good job of managing Richardson's workload, only letting him throw 20 times. For comparison, Caleb Williams had 52 attempts in his game. JT was the MVP of this game, no question. He had 23 carries for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. Trey Sermon also chipped in late with 2 carries for 16 yards and a touchdown, with AR even helping push him into the end zone. That's the kind of team spirit we need. And AR's strength really showed there. We saw some creative plays too, like that 25-yard screen pass to JT. AR faked to the right and then threw to the left. Really smart play calling. The offense hasn't opened up as much as I'd like yet, mainly because of Richardson's accuracy issues. A lot of his misses are high, just like we saw in his rookie season and during the preseason. He's still learning how to control that powerful arm of his. It's easy to forget, but Richardson is just 22 years old. He's the youngest starter in the league, so we've got to give him time to grow. Sure, we might be a better team right now with a veteran like Joe Flacco, but the potential with AR is off the charts. We have to let him make mistakes and learn from them. Eventually, he'll get there. So, Colts fans, let's be patient and enjoy the ride. Anthony Richardson is still incredibly young. In fact, he's younger than both Stetson Bennett and Caleb Williams, who's expected to be the #1 pick in the upcoming draft. Richardson had only around 8 starts at Florida, maybe 12. But the point is, he hasn't had much experience as a starting quarterback, even going back to high school, where he barely played. He's still figuring it all out, which is why every rep he gets is so important. That's why it was good to see him play in the preseason, even though the first 3 weeks of the regular season have been tough for our passing game. We've had a few big plays here and there, but teams like the Packers have shut those down, making our offense struggle. Against the Bears, we leaned heavily on our run game with 33 carries, which was the right move. I still can't believe Caleb Williams threw the ball 52 times for 363 yards. That's incredible. But on the flip side, he also took 4 sacks. Latu had a huge play with that strip sack. Without that, the Bears might have driven down the field and scored, possibly winning the game. On defense, we have to give credit where it's due. Jalen Jones had 2 interceptions and 5 tackles. Zaire Franklin racked up 15 tackles. E.J. Speed had 12, and Nick Cross added 10. He was leading the league in tackles going into this week, though that might have changed. Kenny Moore also played well with 8 tackles, though he did get beat on a beautiful pass to the back corner of the end zone. But honestly, few corners can keep up with a receiver like that all the way across the field. I've been a bit disappointed in Adonai Mitchell's performance. He didn't even have a catch this game. There was one play where he was wide open, but Richardson floated the ball instead of throwing it on target. When a quarterback starts losing confidence, it shows. You could tell Richardson was second-guessing himself. Instead of firing a precise pass, he tried to lob it in to avoid another mistake, but that allowed the defensive back to catch up and nearly pick it off. It's tough to watch because you can see how these mistakes are affecting his confidence. What we need to remember is that Richardson is still very much a work in progress. We're still waiting for that breakout game where he puts it all together. We've seen glimpses of his potential, like his second-half performance against the Rams or the first 2 drives against the Texans last season. But it's always followed by a bad play or an interception that slows down the momentum. It's frustrating, but we have to live with the ups and downs. I'm still fully behind Richardson. He has the talent and potential. It's just going to take time for him to put it all together. Colts fans, let's stay patient and support him as he grows. I really believe he's going to be a great quarterback. Right now, though, he's making some mistakes that are hurting the team. He just needs to review the game tapes and keep improving, which I'm sure he will. If you look at Richardson's stats, they're very similar to Josh Allen's at this point in their careers. It's surprising, but even Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck had comparable numbers in their early days, especially regarding interceptions and touchdowns. Just imagine how good Richardson could be once he sharpens his accuracy and masters the quick passing game. With his strong arm and athleticism, he has the potential to be really special. The Colts need to stick with him, and it's great to hear that the locker room believes in him. One writer even mentioned that the team has his back no matter what. Shane Steichen took responsibility for the loss against the Packers, which shows strong leadership. Having a supportive team is crucial, especially when things get tough online. Fans can be harsh on social media, but it's important to stay focused on the season ahead. I'm just glad the Colts got a win. We could easily be 3-0 right now. We had a shot with a Hail Mary in Week 2, and in Week 1, we struggled against Joe Mixon. Thankfully, we managed to win this last game, so we're currently 1-2. Looking ahead, I'm not sure who we face next, but let's hope it's a team we can beat. We'll be playing the Steelers at home, then heading to Jacksonville and Tennessee for divisional games. Winning against Pittsburgh is crucial. If we drop that game and go to 1-3, it'll make the next games really tough. I'm relieved we won this game against the Bears. Starting 0-3 would have been a big blow to our playoff hopes. The Texans lost today, and the Titans struggled too. The Jaguars have a tough match on Monday, so we're still in the race, just a game behind the Texans. Not too bad at all.